Auto defense metrics, secret, when one of your minions is attacked, give it divine shield. It's a decent secret, I would say. Not as powerful as Avenge was, I think. It doesn't fit currently into any existing archetype though. There's this Bellringer Sentry, 3/4 for 4 mana. You can play with if you want to create a secret pal. And the secret can probably belong to such deck if Bellringer Sentry will carry the archetype. It doesn't do it right now, so this secret isn't powerful enough to make it work. It would be cool if like minion dies first and then it's given divine shield. So it's like dead, but it has divine shield. Yeah, I guess it doesn't work like this. Let's give it a rating, I guess. I would say it's 2.5 out of 5. Okay, Kangaroo's Endless Army, 7 mana, Paladin spell, resurrect 3 friendly mechs. They keep any magnetic upgrades. Yeah, it's like a powerful finisher, I guess. If you play mech pal, it reminds me of Lesser Amethyst Spellstone or whatever spellstone the priest has. You can play mid-range mech pal with this and then have Endless Army as a finisher. This is a legendary spell though. You can only put one of a kind. And the board can be cleared with cards like Twisted Nether still. So building a deck around this spell when you can only play one, it has to be as powerful as Gul'dan. It is 7 mana, but I assume playing it on 7 is somewhat difficult. Spellstone for Priest is weaker than this card though, because Spellstone has restriction, and you can control your mechs you put into your deck, right? So you can only run big mechs, or average mechs, or useful mechs, in which case you will also resurrect good ones. And they also keep magnetic upgrades, so it's even better, right? Like if you apply magnetic upgrade to your minion and then res it, it's super big. I don't think you can give it a charge, so OTK combos with this card aren't possible immediately. Card has a limitless potential basically. If there will be more mechs introduced who have charge, it can even become like anything can happen OTK combo paladin. When you only run so few magnetic and mech minions, you can rest them and then you fill your remaining deck slots with removals and weapon and heal just to survive. Card has potential. I want to rate it very high, like 4.5. It really depends on other mechs though, and I didn't really analyze them yet. I mean, it's also possible the card will not see any play either. It's very difficult for me to review mech-based cards when you don't see the full set, because set is basically built around mech synergy, and if you throw any of those cards in a vacuum, like if you can play this card right now in Hearthstone with the existing set, it won't be any powerful, right? There aren't any good mechs. Deadringer, 2 mana 2/1, Death Rattle draw and Death Rattle minion from your deck. I like it because there's Cycle Priest with Blood Mage Tunnels and Loot Hoarder, OTK Priest, right? And this card can really fit because you play only one minion and then you get another Death Rattle, and then you play this Death Rattle and you can resurrect your minions and draw even more Death Rattles, draw even more card draw, and just cycle, kill your opponent very quickly. I assume you cannot play Blood Mage in this deck anymore, but it's still fine. You can just run 4 Death Rattles, 2 Loot Hoarders and 2 Deadringers. Also you can do it in Quest Priest. Deadringer Quest Priest gives you 2 Death Rattles, sure. Auto include, obviously. Problem is, neither Resurrect Priest nor Quest Priest are playable right now. They're just more like a meme. I don't think they even reach 50% win rate. That's why I can't rate this card super high, and I only give it 3.5, I guess. Reckless Experimenter, 5 mana 4/6, the throttle minion your play costs 3 less, but die at the end of the turn. Priest only. Cube Priest can benefit from this. You cube a minion, cube costs only 2 mana. You can even cube your Reckless Experimenter, and then it dies immediately, you get 2 copies of the minion you cubed. I mean, it's cool, but you can also look at this minion as it has a downside. Because you can play stuff like 6/5 Drakes for 6 mana, all expensive Death Rattles. You don't want to play when this is on the board, it will kill it, you get nothing from it. Even money discount doesn't cover the drawback. Immediate synergy I can see, Voodoo Doll. Reckless Experimenter into Voodoo Doll basically removes a minion for 0 mana, which is very strong. Yes, this play is very solid. Maybe it belongs to a Quest Priest archetype. I mean, most definitely it only belongs to such archetype. You probably won't be running just cubes and experimenters without quest for some weird combo. Priest doesn't have such stuff available. Like you still can play chargers, charged Devilsaur, but there's no way you can resurrect them, so you have to rely on them sticking to the board when you play them on turn 8, and it just doesn't happen too often. I don't think this deck will be playable, so it's only for like a Quest Priest, but in Quest Priest you can even like play Voodoo Dolls, and it makes it very powerful. I would rate it 3 out of 5. Faithful Lumi. Neutral 1 mana 1/1. Battlecry, give a friendly mech +1/+1. And mech itself. It reminds me of Acheros Veteran. Gives 2 stats. Gives 2 stats, but it's 1/1 itself. Acheros Veteran gives 1 stat, and it's 1/2/1 itself. You have to be playing mechs though. That's a big restriction. It's a mech itself, so it can receive magnetic buffs as an upside. I assume it's better than Acheros Veteran if your deck contains only mechs. If you have only mechs in your deck, this is better because you can receive magnetic buffs. Acheros Veteran on paper is better though, because it's basically the same. Faithful Lumi can give you value traits, but it's not worth running it over Veteran if you account for their inability to give buffs and being a very bad 1-drops compared to Acheros Veteran being at least playable on turn 1. I would run it in full mech deck. I don't think there will be too many of such kind decks, so I would rate this card 2 out of 5. Omega Agent, 5 mana 4/5 Warlock only, Battlecry, if you have 10 mana crystals, summon 2 copies of this minion. So on 10 mana, you want to say on 10 mana I can play 2 Chillwind Yetis? Or I can play a 4/5 on 5 mana? Omega lol. Oh, 2 copies. Okay, you can get 3 4/5s. I mean, I want to play like Golden, I don't know, like get like 10 Doomguards. Okay, maybe 7, maybe 10. I mean, somewhere in between. Just compared to like Dragon Hatcher, it just does better stuff, right? It keeps buffs too. Like, how do you buff this when it's in your hand? The upside it has, you can play it turn 5 as a 4/5. Can you play it in Zoo maybe? Just as a like a slowish Zoo. It's not even. You cannot play it in even Warlock. I mean, if you get 3 4/5s, it's a respectable board. But turn 10, where does it even belong? 4/5 on turn 5 is an upside? Yes, it is if you have nothing else to do. It's always an upside to have an option. Would you rather have it as a 5 mana or 10 mana Battlecry, summon 2 copies of this minion, or would you have it as a 5 mana in the state it is? Obviously you want to have it as a 5. You can play it on 10 and then you will have like 5 mana spare, right? Yeah, maybe it's decent. 2.5 I guess. No, let's give it 3 stars. Lab Recruiter, 2 mana 3/2. Battlecry, shuffle 3 copies of friendly minion into your deck, and it's for the rogue. This one is interesting. If you play Miracle, you can shuffle Nerubar Ambushers and play them in Fatigue, so you get like a lot of value. So you can just run 1 Lab Recruiter in your Miracle Rogue just so you don't run out of stuff. As a 2 mana 3/2, it's not too bad, right? You can just play it sometimes. Some decks cannot deal with 2 mana 3/2s too easily. As for the quest, I don't know about quest. For quest rogue, you already have infinite value. This guy doesn't help you too much. Nerubar Ambushers. Okay, I meant Strider. Nerubar. What's the name? Whatever. 4 mana 4/4 for the rogue. Everybody knows about it. Everybody saw some spooters he can create. So yes, I think you can run one of a kind in Miracle Rogue. Let's give it 3.5. Has potential. Weaponized Pinata. 4 mana 4/3 mech. The threat will add random legendary minion to your hand. 1 star for this minion. You do not see any play. There's a Polluted Loot Hoarder for 2 stats. This minion has 1 more stat. Legendaries on average, so like they aren't so good. Polluted Loot Hoarder hasn't seen any play. This card is a mech. Is it an upside? I don't think you'll be playing this in tempo deck, and mech decks are supposed to be tempo decks, I would assume. I'll stay at 1 star. Demonic Project, 2 mana Warlock card. Each player transforms friendly minion in their hand into a demon. So 2 mana does nothing. You can play around Shadow White with this card. It's like a Dirty Rat, but Dirty Rat is just so much better. I think this is garbage. 1 star. Should have Echo. That's a good idea. Maybe it would make the card a little better. Tech. I mean, come on, guys. Shadow White isn't a problem. Like, it's not such a problem, so you have to run this card. It can't even interact with Death Knight. You can't, like, counter Frostly Jaina or any Death Knights. You can do it against Hadronarchs, but it's random. It doesn't do anything against aggro decks. You cannot afford to spend 2 mana doing nothing. You would just rather life tap. Maybe if there will be like multiple minion combo decks, you can use this card though. 1.5 star, okay. Like a quest mage, if such stuff will be popular for some reason, don't see why would it be. Maybe you can run it. Unexpected results. 4 mana mage spell. Summon 2 random 2 cost minions improved by spell damage. So if you have spell damage, you get 3 cost minions. If you get 2 spell damage, you get 4 cast minions. But I don't see any implications of this card right now. Getting 2 random 2 cast minions is pretty bad for 4 mana. Mage doesn't run any spell damage currently. And it's pretty difficult to get spell damage stick to the board, and to play this card and spell damage in the same turn, it will take you at least 6 mana. I'll give it 1.5 star for potential, if there will be a lot of spell damage for some reason. Dr. Boom, Mad Genius, a hero card for the warrior. Gives you 7 armor, for some reason, not 5, and costs 7. Battle cry for the rest of the game, your mechs have rush. And those are hero powers. Dr. Boom's hero power is randomized every turn. It randomizes on your opponent's turn, so they can see what to expect. You can never get the same hero power in a row. Dr. Boom does not appear in the arena. Micro Squad, hero power. Summon 3/1/1 microbots, swap each turn. So each hero power costs 2. 3/1/1 microbots. And they all have rush. I mean, I assume they're mechs. It's good, like Unleash the Hounds. Zap Cannon deals 3 damage. Discover mech, gain 7 armor. Holy. And deal 1 damage to all enemies. I think Scourge Lord Garrosh is better for the control deck. You won't be playing this just for the value. You have to be playing mech deck. Hero powers are good, but it's just not worth it. Like if you don't run mechs, you're not playing this card either. 7 armor obviously is great. If the text was, if the hero power was 100% gain 7 armor, it would have been a very good card. But you can get some bad stuff as well. Deal 3 damage, well, not so great, right? Discover mech, not so great. You can only get 1 hero power and it's always random. You cannot rely on getting armor. You cannot rely on this card carrying the game anyhow, like, it will be random. Deal 1 damage. Your opponent knows you will be getting this hero power, so he can play around it, right? If you have Scourge Lord Garrosh, for example, and your opponent has a bunch of cards with 1 toughness, he will have to play them. You will always have this hero power. But if you roll the Kaboom, he might just hold down to those cards and play them next turn. So I cannot rate this card super highly, just because I didn't see all the mechs yet. I don't know how good Mech Warrior will be. So I would give this card 3.5 so far. Obviously a card is very powerful, but Shadowrock was overhyped. And it wasn't seen any play until nerfs came out. Like, all the Death Knight that have immediate effect, right? And Dr. Boom doesn't. It just gives you 7 armor and makes your hero power do something most likely more positive than your armor normally would have been, but not always. And last card, Omega Medic, priest only. Battle Cry, if you have 10 mana crystals, restore 10 health to your hero. 3 mana 3/4. Now, this is juicy. Revealed by MKRR3. Who is this guy? Why not me? Yeah, it's good, but how good? Like, I have to give it a rating, right? Where can you play it? Quest Priest? Maybe not. In Quest Priest in turn 10, if you need a healing, if you're playing against deck, you need to be keeping healing in your hand. You can just do Amara. So you can play this in a Control Priest. That makes sense. You can play Tempo 3/4, which is okay. Stats, I don't see anything wrong about it, right? If 5 mana 4/5 is very bad, then 3 mana 4/3/4 is okay. You wouldn't be playing a minion without a text for 3 mana with such stats, but this one has pretty good description. I still don't know if you should be playing 2 of those, so like 10, it has very limited implication. You either play it on turn 3 and you have slightly underwhelming minion, or you play it on turn 10. You probably don't keep it in your mulligan unless you're playing against Shaman. 3/4s have been notoriously good against Shaman due to Mana Totem and Chain Gain their play and other totems. And it's probably also a meta call, right? Let's say if there are a lot of control priests, you want to play Omega Medic. Because it's awesome. If there are freeze mages, you want to play Omega Medic. Any deck who can do delayed damage, right? Any deck who runs Alexstrasza, you want to play Omega Medic against. So I think it's meta call. Whether or not you should be playing this card, I'll give it 3.5. So what can I say so far? Seems pretty good. I didn't see too many terrible cards. I like what I'm seeing. Not so many pack fillers, feels good, man.